So I'm Klaas Stoffberg, the cellar master at Babylonstoren. My colleague Neil took you through the garden, and obviously that's our center spot of the farm, and it's sort of everything around surrounding that is part of the farm as well. And I want to take you through a little bit of a journey of our vineyard. We are standing in our experimental blocks with what you can experience when you come on our cellar tour. So every day we do 3 cellar tours. What we do is we take you through the vineyards, we show you the different trellis systems we've got, and also what you can find in the industry. Yeah, at Babylonstoren we mainly use one trellis system. We use the VSP. So it's a bottom wire where your cordon, so your vine will come out of the ground. You'll split it left and right, and then on that the shoots will grow up between wires. And the reason for that is, in Cape Town, we've got the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean both sides, so we always have wind. And you need to sort of adapt to that and adjust your vineyards so that the wind doesn't damage your vine too much. So over the years, it's proven that the VSP is very good for Cape Town, and obviously protecting the canopy. There's a few advantages about that. We obviously firstly for wind protection, so the shoots doesn't break off. And another thing as well is you can actually plant your rows in a certain direction. So obviously the sun comes up in the east and it goes down in the west. So your coolest sun will be in the morning, where from the eastern side, your morning sun will shine on the one side. So say you've got a cultivar that ripens very late, like a Cabernet Sauvignon. You actually want to plant your row direction north-south, so you get morning sunshine from the eastern side and also afternoon sun. If you've got a cultivar like a Sauvignon Blanc or Chenin Blanc that you want to, sort of preserve and keep cool, you can plant your row direction east-west, where you'll get sunlight all over the canopy and not direct sunlight on the bunches. So something we do is we look really hard into soil analysis first. Obviously, before you can plant a vineyard, it's very important to look what you're working with. Looking at Babylonstoren, we range from 650 meters high to about 150 meters high, where we are standing at the moment. And I always jokingly say, imagine packing a lot of rocks on top of it and cover it with soil. And over the years, you take a bit of water and you pour it on top. What will happen is all the fine sand will go down to the bottom. In the middle, there'll be a bit of clay and rock sitting there. And at the top, your big boulders will sit. And that's exactly what our concept is on the farm. Most of our granite boulders sits a bit higher up in the mountain. We've got a lot of decomposed granite a bit lower down. And at the bottom of the farm is our sandy soils. So looking at planting vineyard, we want to plant vineyards on the sandier soil down below that ripens quickly, and we also pick quickly. So most of our whites and some of our rosé, like our Mourvèdre for our rosé, is planted a bit lower because we don't need that much hanging time. So what I mean by hanging time is literally the time the grapes need to hang on the vine before it's ripe. Going over to your red cultivars, where you need a bit more time for that color to sort of form in the skin, and to get that optimum ripeness. When we talk about optimum ripeness, it's about the taste of the wine, the juice, but also the sensory and also the chemical analysis. So when you look at the acids and the pHs, all the stuff that sort of makes wine, everything needs to be in balance. If it's lower down, where it's sandy soil, it will ripen quickly, it will have a lot of sugar, but you won't have your acid sitting there, and you won't have that structure and tannin forming in your grapes. So what we're trying to do is plant our reds a bit higher up on the mountain, where we've got a bit more decomposed granite. And because what happens is you've got the decomposed granite on the top and a bit of clay in the bottom. So what happens, as soon as it rains, the water goes through the decomposed granite and it goes and it lies on top of the clay layer. So as soon as your rootstock starts growing, the roots goes in and that water lies on top of the clay, and it can suck up that water during a long period of time. So for us, it's important for the red grapes to grow in that soils, to get that long hanging time we talked about, and to get that optimum ripeness where your chemical analysis, the sensory things, everything is in balance. And then also getting that hanging time for color in the grapes, and also to get the balance right. Yeah, so looking at all those, we sort of dissect every block. So what we do is we'll go into all our vineyard blocks. Say we've got 10 different blocks of Chardonnay. We will go into the blocks, we'll split every block into smaller blocks, and we'll pick it separately at different sugar levels, because if you pick it at a lower sugar level, you'll have a bit more greener flavors. If you pick it at a riper sugar level, you'll have a bit more yellow fruit flavors. And in all those components, we keep separate. And talking about that wine is about balance. Building all those components in the cellar, not only with the Chardonnay, but all the other cultivars. What we'll do is, after the time it needs to stay in the barrel or in the tank, we'll take all those components and we'll blend it together, and to find that perfect balanced spot. And that's what Babylonstoren is about. It's about enjoying yourself, but also having balance. I think there's a very nice saying at Babylonstoren. We like to have fun, but also with purpose, and also to have balance in our lives. We are all so busy, and we run around. But when people come into our garden, onto the farm, they sort of find that inner peace. And I think that's one thing that makes Babylonstoren really unique.